And exactly 1 month from today, Pope Francis arrives in Havana before visiting the U.S. Alan Holdren talks one-on-one with the U.S. Ambassador to the Holy See about the Pope's decision to come here by way of Cuba.
One of the greatest international diplomatic developments of the last year involved Vatican diplomacy. This is the normalization, or this process of normalizing relations between the U.S. and Cuba. How have you been involved in this process?
I have been very happily watching on the sidelines, cheering them on. It has been a major breakthrough, something that many of us applauded, even as President Obama mentioned changing the policy towards Cuba early on in his tenure. So when the opportunity presented itself, the Church became involved. I mean, you can only but applaud.
The Pope will be visiting both of these nations next month. He'll actually be entering the United States from Cuba. What does that gesture, what message does that send to the world?
Pope Francis said early on that if he did come to the United States, he would love to enter from the south. The choice of going to Cuba followed his choice of first going to Philadelphia for the World Meeting on Families. The next decision was a response to President Obama's invitation to come to Washington. And thirdly, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon's invitation to speak at the UN. And then along came the change in relationships between the US and Cuba, and the invitation from Raul Castro to the Holy Father to come to Cuba. So it followed in a sequence. Significance? Oh, kind of, but I wouldn't read a terrible amount into it, except in a positive way.
And the Pope will be addressing the U.S. Congress while he's there in Washington, D.C. He's expected to speak on economic policy, on immigration and religious freedom. Of all of these things, and in all of these things, do you expect him to grill the American people?
No, I don't see Francis grilling or calling out congresspersons on these issues. Rather, I think he will speak to Congress and to the American people and to the world through that venue about issues of fundamental concern, raising up the values that make our nation great, of compassion and concern for the poor, opportunity, liberties. I think he will raise all of those issues rather than scolding anybody. I don't think he's prepared to do that. There are a range of issues that he has already spoken on which are relevant in the United States, and you mentioned some of them: migration, concern for the poor, America's role in the world and what it can be. So I think he'll raise many of those.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much.